So we're going to fast forward a lot now to some subjects that I know that a lot of people have had questions about and will be interested in. So we're going to go to Worlds of 2022 firstly. If I'm not mistaken, this was your first Open Worlds. You competed in the under 57 class. Talk to me a bit about the prep going into that, about what the whole experience of that first Worlds was like. Were you happy with how it went, where you ended up placing?
Yeah, 2022 Worlds was a bit of a weird one because I think like we were coming back off of the back of COVID. I'd taken a bit of time away and done Olympic weightlifting for a bit. I was coming back to powerlifting and like my strength was in a good place, but I just didn't really have the comp experience because we hadn't been able to have comps. So Worlds ended up being my first comp in a whole year, which maybe doesn't sound that crazy, but I'm quite an anxious lifter and I found that really affected me, like to go to such a high level comp where, you know, it was my first Open Worlds, my first time competing against like my idols, was a bit intimidating. And I just made some mistakes. I just kind of caked it on some of my attempts. I don't even know what went wrong, but I caked my second squat and then like came back and got it on my third. And I did the same thing on my deadlift. So it was a real learning curve, like to really invest more in how I manage my emotions during a competition, because that's kind of how it can affect me. And I think coming fourth was still like a really good outcome, but I definitely could have done better if I hadn't made those mistakes.
So from there, we're going to segue now to talk to you about the most sort of impactful, the biggest powerlifting comp that I've ever heard of was Sheffield. For those that might not be familiar with it, can you explain the format of the competition and how it sort of differs with a regular powerlifting competition? And maybe talk a little bit about your strategy, your strategy with your coach in terms of dropping a weight class. Maybe even touch on the ups and downs of the preps and the rundown of the comp day itself.
Yeah, so Sheffield is an invitational competition, so you have to be invited. It's 12 men and 12 women, sort of mostly spread out across the weight classes, and they also have like regional invites as well, to try and get lifters from unrepresented regions. So yeah, it's sort of spread across world champions, regional invites, and some wildcards. I was initially invited in 2020 as a regional invite, representing the Oceania region, and the competition was cancelled.
No good.
And so I got invited again for 2023, again as a regional invite. So I guess like for that reason, a lot of people maybe didn't pay a lot of attention to me because I wasn't up there with one of the world champions. You know, I came fourth at Worlds. I came fourth at Worlds as a 57 as well. So people were like, oh yeah, like it's just a nice like participation meet for her. The way that the competition is like ranked is by the percentage of the world record total you achieve. So the closer you can get to the world record or even exceed the world record, you get higher in the rankings.
Right.
And there's also money that can be won for breaking world records in individual lifts as well.
Good.
Money's good. Yeah, I mean, it's really like the first of its kind for many reasons, but one of them being like you can win a substantial amount of money.
What kind of money are we talking?
I think for first place it's £25,000. Each individual record was £5,000.
Wow. And you came away with 105%
Yeah.
of the world record. Talk to us about that. The comp went pretty well for you, right? 9 for 9, 560, some world records.
Yeah, so I guess like going in knowing that no one was really expecting much from me. We were just sort of there to participate and like enjoy the experience because like it was going to be an incredible experience no matter what. And like I was happy with that, but I'd sort of done a mini cut at the end of 2022 to prep for bulking up into Sheffield.
Right.
So I was sitting around 55 kilos and I competed at Commonwealths, which we held here in Auckland. And I managed to basically like total the same or like very close to my best total, but at like 4 kilos lighter or something. And so Jason, my coach, sort of took pause and was like, how did that work? Like, what if she dropped down? Like, could she maintain much of her strength? Like, okay, he did the math and sort of plotted out everyone's best totals and their percentage of the world record, and then like, okay, well, what if Evie competes as 52 and loses 5 kilos off her total? Well, she could win. What if she uses 10 kilos? Will she still be really up there? What if she loses 15 kilos off her total? Yeah, like, she'd still be really up there even if she lost quite a lot of strength. And so he sort of proposed this idea to me, and initially I was like, I never want to go back to 52. What do you like, why would you suggest this? How dare you?
Quite resistant then.
Because I love food so much, and I was like, nah, I'm like not about it. And he was like, well, just hear me out. I was like, okay, show me the numbers. And he did, and he said, you could win 58,000 New Zealand dollars because of the conversion at the time. And I was like, oh shit, okay. That's quite a lot.
I would try it for that much money.
Yeah, so at that point you're like, well,